Okay, so you're a beginner when it comes to networking. You're just getting out there to network. You're looking to do some networking, or you've been networking and you come across this video and you say, "Well, I want to step up or brush it up on my networking game." Great, this is the video for you. I want to talk about some of the things you should not be doing, some of the huge mistakes that I see when it comes to networking. We definitely want to get into it, but before we get into it, I need you to do me a favor to help me to do and get more videos out here like this. That helps. I need you to go ahead and like this video. I need you to go ahead and subscribe. That helps me to do more videos, more information. My name is Lutalo K. I'm a social media and network strategist. And one of my biggest things is I just want to share my experience. I've been out there networking with all different kinds of organizations. And I want to give you tips and plays that you can get started with now and be successful and won't have to go through the mistakes that I've made. So let's get into it. The first thing when it comes to networking and huge mistakes is not planning. You want to plan. You don't want to just go to the network event. Hey, I heard about this networking event and I'm going to go ahead and go to it. No, you want to plan. So um, planning even starts with, I go as far as where's the place located? Where's the address? I will put it in GPS, put it in my calendar so I know where I'm going to be before the event, how much time it's going to take for me to get there so I know what time to leave. You really want to plan to get to the venue earlier or get there early. If it starts at 6, you want to get there 5:45. There's so many benefits from getting there early if you can. Now, if you're late, it's not a big deal, but getting there early, you want to plan for that. The next thing is who are you trying to connect with? Who are you really trying to meet? Do you know your target? You may not have a specific target, but you do want to get specific. You don't want to get in there and just like, well, everybody's my customer. No, everybody's not your customer. If you're selling a certain product or service, you're looking for a certain age, you're looking for a certain income. Somebody's got to be able to afford it. So you really want to know. You may be looking for a certain career. So you really want to plan for that. Know the location, know where you're going, plan to get there early, and then know your heat. Cool. Now let's go back to planning to get there early. One advantage about getting there early is your event host will be there, and in my experience, the event host is going to be like the friendliest person there. Now, granted, they might be a little bit busy because they are the host and they're putting some things together. But if you're going to some place where you don't know anyone, if you haven't met anyone, the event host is probably the warmest person and the easiest person that you want to introduce yourself to and will help you navigate that room. Not necessarily the person that's going to take you around to everybody, but they could. But getting to know that host, if the host puts on the event, it is very likely that they know a lot of people, and that connection for you is going to make a huge difference. If you go to that host and you've already made your plan, you already know, okay, I've got to this location early. I already know who it is that I want to meet. And you tell that host, hey, nice to meet you. I am looking for this person, this different demographic. I'm in this business. That host may know, you know what, this person is coming here today. I'm going to introduce you to them. So now you're already ahead of the game because you're not having, especially if you're nervous and you're getting there, you don't really know anyone. You've got a host that's already doing a warm introduction, and you don't necessarily have to work the room to figure out who you want. So that helps. I make a point to get to know a host of events if I can, if I'm able to. The host is going to be a huge connector. And as we go through the steps. So a huge mistake I see is just not planning. Doing all those things. If you don't plan, huge mistake. Huge mistake. You're setting yourself up for failure, or at least to just make networking just that much more hard. And networking can be hard, especially if you're just not the extroverted person. Because I'm introverted, I can be, and you're just not that person to just get out and go. So you really want to plan. The next thing that I see that's a big problem is I see people get to networking events and they see people they know and they hang out with people they know. What sense does that make? Put in the comments, what sense does that make? to go to a networking event and hang out with people that you know. Now, from a psychological standpoint, from a nervous standpoint, I understand you're nervous. So it's easy to get there and say, hey, that's so and so. But the thing is, you're at a networking event. The whole point is to meet new people. Huge mistake is to hang out with the person you know. Now, if the person you know can introduce you to some people that you don't know, okay, you're good. I encourage it. I think that's great. Hey, you know, you see your friend there, your friend knows some people, they're going to introduce you to some people, which I would think if your friend was able to introduce you to some people, you could do that outside the networking event. But hey, maybe they're physically there in a warm, physical, present introduction is much better than that, you know, text message or that phone call. That's the only way I would say is not a mistake. Do not hang out with people you know. You want to get uncomfortable. You want to get out of that comfort zone and meet new people. Meet new people. I personally think the magic number, if there was a magic number of how many people you should meet at a network event, I really think it's 3 to 5. I I have run into people, and this might be going on a side note, that they won't go to the event because there's not a couple of hundred people at the event. How you gonna meet a couple of hundred people? How are you gonna really get to an event and really connect, just deep connect with a couple of hundred people? Maybe 10 people. A networking event is what, a couple of hours. How much time are you talking to that person? So that's my side note. But on this end, do not hang out with who you know. You want to meet new people. Go ahead and speak, say hello, but get to going. The next mistake that I see is just asking those same old questions. Hey, what do you do for a living? What's your name? Everybody asks that. That's just cliche. You want to get unique with your questions. What's the highlight of your week? What's been the highlight of your week? That lets that person stop and think, man, I this really happened. And I've done a video on remembering names, but them answering that question is going to definitely be a way for you to remember that person's name. Is connecting their highlight for the week with their name. It just locks you in. It locks you in to really be like, okay, that was really cool. Another good one is what inspired you to come here today? What inspired you to go to work this week? The inspired one is just like they stop and think like, okay, that's good. But think about unique questions. Think about what's different. You could also go into, hey, what are you looking for in a client? Because that's going to be the next thing, being in a mode of helping. And that's really, truly important when it comes to just having that conversation. So the next thing is, and the next huge mistake is not shutting up and listening. You got to listen. 2 ears, one mouth. You want to listen. You've asked questions, shut your mouth and listen. I'm going to tell you, you're going to be in a much better position if you listen. Listening is going to put you in especially if you're like hungry for clients. If you listen to that person, they're going to tell you what they need. And it's going to be just that much easier to close. And I can't guarantee that you're going to close right then and there. Have I gone to networking events and got new clients? I have. Have I gone to networking events and not gotten clients? I have. But I make connections. Every networking event that I go to, every event that I go to, I meet people. I make connections. And even if it's just one connection, that one connection, you don't know who they know. You don't know who they know. So shut your mouth and listen, listen, listen. The next thing is people come being selfish. A huge mistake is going to an event and being selfish. What do I mean? You need to give. You need to be in a mode like, oh, I'm here to get clients. That's a selfish thing. Think about when you meet this person, your first objective should be, what can I do to help them? If they're looking for something, how can I connect them to something? You should always be in the mode of giving. What can you give? What can you do to help? And yeah, maybe your product or service can help, but it's not about selling. Selling is the backdoor way. If you listen and you give, they're probably going to offer. I've had plenty of people that I've helped with, and they come back and say, Lou, what can I do to help you? What can I do to help you? And so I'm not going to say that's 100% of the time, but I'll say it's a lot. There's a good majority that when I'm in a giver's mode, I gain. When I'm in the mode of how can I help? How can I connect? Because I've listened to that person. You go from the point of listening to the point of helping. It's powerful. It's powerful. It's the point of building relationships. So that's a huge mistake, not being in a giver's mode. And the next thing is get their contact information. You've met this new person, you've connected, you've listened, you've asked questions, you've given. Get their contact information. My recommendation is a phone number and an email address. That's my recommendation. And right then and there, send a text message. Right then and there, send an email. So, and then confirm with them, hey, I just want to make sure I got it. Because you don't want to leave there, you missed the number or you missed the letter in the email, and now you don't have any way to get in contact with this person. Make sure it works right then and there. Don't don't be the one, well, here's my card. You give them their card. That doesn't work. Get their information. That's a huge mistake that I see. People don't get their information. I've been to events where they connect on LinkedIn and they connect on Instagram. That's all good and fine. The problem with Instagram is if they don't follow you back, now you're in another part of their DMs, and that might never happen. You may never been able to get in contact with them. The same with LinkedIn. So a phone number and an email address, that is a direct contact. Get the phone number, get the email address, and last but not least, and I'm curious. Put in the comments. Do you get the phone number? Do you get the email address? Is that something you do? Have you done that? How do you feel about that? What do you feel about Instagram and LinkedIn? Put that in the comments. Let me know. I like to have a discussion on that. And then we get into this last piece. Follow up. Follow up. Follow up. You've got the information. You made this connection. You need to follow up. It needs to be a coffee. It could be a Zoom. It could be lunch. It could be just a visit at their office. Follow up. You need to follow up. You need to make that connection. Even if that person is not a prospective client, you don't know who they know. And a huge mistake that I see is just like 80-90% of people don't follow up. So you need to follow up. So put in the comments. Tell me what you think. What do you think about this list? You think there's something that I missed that should be added when it comes to the mistakes that are made when it comes to networking? I would love to know. So if you're looking to really build your network and learn more about networking and social media, definitely check out my other videos.